to consider whether or not injunctions should be universal in nature. And as now we have also they gave them room to go to the Supreme Court in mid-October. So this is going to end up at the Supreme Court. I think what will happen at the lower court on this question of the injunction, I think it will end up being resolved in favor of the plaintiffs and the states in particular. Will be able to argue, I think, that a universal injunction makes sense here because they will not be able to get complete relief without an injunction that applies across the whole 50 states. And also, this is a court that the Court of International Trade is sort of different from the other courts that have been issuing rulings against Trump in other cases because the Court of International Trade is a specialized court that is specifically designed to address issues like this. So the argument in favor of a universal injunction would be considerably stronger even following the Supreme Court's decision this summer.
Yeah, and interesting how that decision affects so much of what the administration is attempting to accomplish right now. Congressman, Alina alluded to the president leaning on emergency declarations to justify so many aspects of his agenda, and in a sense, the question of what legally defines an emergency has been tested more than I think ever. What could that mean for executive power going forward?
Well, I think Congress needs to reclaim its authorities, and rather than having the courts make all these decisions, how about having Congress vote on these taxes, these tariffs? They should be voting on this. This is their authority. Can you imagine, Boris, if a Democratic president declared a climate emergency and then imposed a carbon tax without a vote of the U.S. Congress? Republicans would justifiably go ballistic. They should be going ballistic right now because this emergency. By the way, I think the court got it right. These taxes are illegal. The president just can't declare an emergency willy-nilly and then take over Congress's power to purse authority. Because that's essentially what's happening here. Or could you imagine if a Democratic president declared a health emergency because reproductive rights and abortion access are being impeded in many states? Republicans would go ballistic. So the precedent being set by this president, I think, bodes terribly for the future and for executive power and usurpation of congressional authority.
But yeah, I think I heard you agree with the early part of the Congressman's statement. What do you think of the overall effort here from the administration to test executive power, and how far do you think Trump is willing to go?
I think he's willing to go as far as he can. But I think people need to remind Donald Trump that he won the presidency. He was not crowned king. But we all know that ultimately, Donald Trump and the people around him now are huge believers in the massive powers of the executive. Donald Trump wants to be an imperial president. Donald Trump wants absolute power. And so he will push this envelope. And I agree with Charlie that it should be Congress, the ones that are going to put a stop to this, because he is stealing the power of Congress. But guess what? Republicans control both houses of Congress, and the only thing they do day after day is bend the knee and genuflect at the altar of Donald Trump. That is not doing this country any good, and I think that you're going to also see political fallout, Boris. We're seeing Donald Trump's numbers tank. His approval numbers are in the toilet with a lot of the voters that gave him a chance, including Latino voters, including young people. And one of the reasons I believe that Trump and Republicans are trying to steal congressional seats in mid-decade is because they see the writing on the wall and the shellacking they're going to get from Democrats in the midterm elections.
Ankush, to the question of congressional authority, the president also said he's going to cancel nearly $5 billion in congressionally approved foreign aid. As has been noted, Congress holds the power of the purse. Lawmakers from both parties have blasted the move as illegal. Is it?
It is certainly inconsistent with the spirit of the Constitution.